Hello team, today's challenge is QR Decoder, where we're given something that is QR-like in the way of ones and zeros, and we are asked to parse the data from it. So some interesting things here. They will have orientation markers. That is these 4 ones in the 3 corners. It sounds funny when I say it like that, but 4 ones in 3 corners. So the top left, the top right, and the bottom left, right? Everything else is data. And that's the important part, is that we are going to get the data. But the catch is that with those orientation markers, it means that maybe things are rotated, okay? And by rotated, I mean we have top left, top right, bottom right instead of the bottom left, right? So we need to be able to rotate this back to a normalized state and then be able to return the data out of it, okay? So over to the code, we're going to get that started right here, not like that, but with a const, okay? We're going to call this QR parser. That seems like a good name, and we're going to call this new parse QR code, okay? We don't get the chance to use classes that often, but this is a good place for that because everything that we're doing is on this QR code, right? We're just going to keep working on this QR code until we can get the data out of it, okay? So packaging that code up into something that can be passed around easily. We're never going to forget a method, but we could forget a function, okay? So creating that class up here. Class, excellent. And right off the bat, we are going to go QR code, okay? This is a property that we're going to use. It is not to be confused with the argument being passed in here, okay? The property is how we access it across the instance of this parse QR code class, okay? So we're always going to refer to that down here as this.QR code, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Just like this, passing in QR code. This QR code right here as the argument is the one that we're passing in. So keeping them clear, but we won't have to worry about that too much longer because we're going to assign it right away. So this.QR code, which is our property right here, we're going to assign that the argument of QR code, okay? And then right off the bat, we are going to normalize this data. And by doing that, inside of the class, we never have to worry about it outside of the class, okay? We just do the work inside of here, and then we can access the data as we need to and get the work done, okay? So that's going to be a while, okay? If I can type it right, there it is. While this dot is orientation correct. Brilliant. Can't type it right. There it is. Okay. Then we do stuff. In fact, we don't care if it is correct. We care if it is not correct in this case. So if it's not correct, then we are going to rotate it. So rotate, come on, rotate QR. Okay. Now, both these methods, we haven't made them yet. So let's go do that. You'll notice that we aren't passing in arguments because it's right here. We already have access to it. We don't need to pass it in, okay? So down here, we can do that. This is going to be the first one. Again, no arguments to that. And the first thing that we do is set up some regular expressions, okay? So const top RE equals the regular expression of 1, 1 with any characters between it and 1, 1. There is a danger here that this might be a little bit greedy, so we make it non-greedy by adding a question mark here. And because I like to, I'm going to set the start and end. Brilliant, okay? We can do the same thing down here. So this is going to be the bot for bottom, okay? And we get rid of everything from the question mark to the $sign, okay? So now it's just starting with ones and however many characters. We don't really care, as long as it starts with ones. Okay. From there, we return. Okay. What do we return? Well, we return a true or false. So we're going to test top RE dot test like this. This dot QR code, brilliant, at, spelling it right, 0. Okay. So if the first line right? Because it's a string. Because if the first line matches, then we pass, okay? So doing the same thing, adding some ampersands, grabbing this whole line, copying it, bringing it down, lining it up, pasting. Oh, come on. Pasting it in. Really? Did I do that? It's doing funny things. There it is. So the top one again. This is the second line. So 0 index is first line. 1 is the second line. Brilliant. Okay, we test both those with top. And then the bottoms, we're going to use some multiple cursors, just like this, to change it to bot for bottom. And at is going to be -2 and -1. So for the bottom, we're testing the second last line and the last line. Okay, that's the flexibility of using at here. This is going to screen because I have too many ampersands. Excellent. Okay. So again, if it's not correct, if it doesn't pass this, then we are going to rotate the QR, and that happens right here. Okay. Again, no arguments because it's right here. It's our property, right? So we can do that. Now, this is an assignment, and that's very important. Okay. So we're going to take this.QRCode and set it to this.QRCode.reduce right. Okay. Usually if you go online and you search for how to rotate a matrix, okay, they will either start out or end with using the reverse method, right? The reverse method basically flips these lines. So first becomes last, last becomes first, and then you do the rotation based on that, okay? Well, with this, with reduce right, we save having to do that. We're already working from the end backwards, okay? So inside of here, we still get accumulator and current doing stuff to it. Our initial thing is an empty array, okay? We need that. So current.for each. I've mentioned this before, but every time we do a matrix, we're in it for 2 loops, one for the rows, one for the columns, okay? Current is currently a string, so we will need to convert that to an array, okay? And we're going to get the element and the index. The index is how we are going to place which row the element gets set to, okay? So right here, carrying on and doing the thing, okay? Now, accumulator index, okay? Getting ahead of myself, doing the stuff, but accumulator index is equal to accumulator index plus element, okay? So assuming that accumulator index exists, then we are just going to concatenate the text from element onto this string. But you'll notice that I said assuming, because right now that is a huge assumption as to whether this exists or not. If it's not in here, which, I mean, why would it be? It's empty right now, right? Then this is going to be undefined. You cannot concatenate onto undefined. Things get messy in a hurry, so we need just a little bit more, okay? And that little bit more is the double question mark, okay? Double question mark basically says, if this is undefined, use an empty string, which is what we want. We want an empty string because we want to put this on the end of it, boom, and toss that into accumulator index. From here, we return, this is outside of that for each, by the way, we return the accumulator. Always return the accumulator. I cannot harp on that enough. I've had so many times where it's like, why isn't this working? Because I forgot to return the accumulator. Or I had a conditional, but I didn't have an else as an example. Okay, I didn't have a default return. So always return something. Excellent. So there it is. Let's take a second to review this, okay? Again, we have this while loop, and if the orientation is not correct based on this test, then we are going to we're going to rotate it based on this code, okay? Which means that right out of the gate, before we do anything, if we were to look at the value of QR code off of QR parser, it would be the right orientation, okay? We automatically set it, we do it, it's done, okay? We can protect that in a second. I'll show you how. But the only thing that we need to do down here is parse, okay? And parse is a method that we have not created yet. So let's go and do that. Back into our class, which is right here. So parse, and we are going to return. So whereas with rotate, we did an assignment, this time we're going to return this dot QR code. Brilliant. And we reduce, right? It feels weird, but again, we're taking that array of strings and shrinking them down into a single string. But we need to get rid of our orientation characters, right? Our markers, which is those what is that? 12 ones, okay? We can't just take them from anywhere. We need to do some work. So reduce is where we live, just like this. We get the accumulator, the current, and this time we need the index. Excellent, okay? This is going to be a string. So we are going to concatenate onto this empty string. That's going to be a final output. Hopefully everything works. Let's take a look. We return accumulator plus current, okay? That gets us our default state, but we need to take care of lines 0 and 1, right? Index 0 and 1, which is if index is less than 2, right? Then return accumulator plus current dot slice 2 minus 2. Excellent, okay? We also need to take care of the final two lines, which in this case are 4 and 5, right? Because it's 0 indexed. So we need to go greater than or greater than equal to 4, okay? And then accumulator plus the slice, but we want to go all the way to the end. So we just start at the second index and go to the end, okay? At which point this should work. Does it? It doesn't, okay? Why doesn't it? Let's take a quick look. Scanning through, we did that. Doing the thing. Right here, this .QR code, reduce, slice. What am I missing? This .QR code is not a function. Did I do something? Taking a quick look. Oh, I totally did, right there. Ah, okay. So, bugs. Sometimes you get bugs. Yeah, this QR code is a property, not a function. So I did that wrong. But it works, and it works great. And you'll notice that our main body function is quite sparse, right? We didn't have to do a lot there. We set up the new instance of parse QR code using our QR code, and then we parsed it out. To do that, again, we did that while loop with the orientation and the rotate, and we did that all in the constructor. So that is just done for us, right? Done for us automatically. And the only thing that we needed to do was run parse to get the data out, okay? And we did that using a reduce to get the right slices of data. Again, don't call this as a method. That's on me, okay? But here we are, okay? A few things that I would do. For one, this should be set to private, okay? There should be no way that I can ever call this directly off of QR parser, right? Like if I did QR parser dot QR code, then without this symbol, I could absolutely get that data. I might be able to change that data. That would be bad news. So let's go and do that. While we're at it, we need to change all of these. So every instance of this .QR code, we go to the start of QR code. Nope, add a number sign so that we are calling the right thing, right? We're using those number signs to tell it that it's private, okay? We can also do that with orientation. So if we wanted to, we could set that to private and rotate QR, getting that, setting that to private. Excellent. And now if we were to examine this, the only method that we could actually call on this would be parse. And this still works, okay? But now it's a little bit more secure. There's no chance of somebody running rotate QR just to mess with us, right? Because once we run the constructor is done. It's not going to happen again, which means that our data is going to be wrong if somebody manages to rotate this on us, okay? So there it is. Again, we don't get to use classes that often, but when we can, they allow us the flexibility to package things up, okay? Because everything happens based on this QR code. We pass that in, and then we operate on it throughout the whole thing to get this done, okay? And we created methods to check if we needed to rotate. We created a way to actually rotate the matrix-like thing because it's actually an array of strings, not a true matrix, at least in my opinion, right? So a way to rotate that. And of course, getting the data out with parse, okay? Again, not every solution, just hopefully one good solution. But the opinion is yours. Did you like this? Do you hate it? Did you find another way that was way less code, maybe way more simple, right? Let me know in the comments. I love reading that. Otherwise, for today, this has been QR Decoder, and I will see you in the next one.